Foil, Bob Beckel, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. See you in court. Those are the first words from President Trump after the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a block on his travel ban last night. Today, he vowed to fight on during a news conference with the Prime Minister of Japan. Listen.
We are going to keep our country safe. We are going to do whatever is necessary to keep our country safe. We had a decision which we think will be very successful with. It shouldn't have taken this much time because safety is a primary reason. One of the reasons I'm standing here today is the security of our country. The voters felt that I would give it the best security. So we'll be doing something very rapidly having to do with additional security for our country. You'll be seeing that sometime next week. In addition, we will continue to go through the court process, and ultimately I have no doubt that we'll win that particular case.
Well, you heard him say he'll be taking more action next week to keep America safe. Here's more from the president earlier.
We will be extreme vetting, which is a term that I developed early in my campaign because I saw what was happening. There are tremendous threats to our country. We will not allow that to happen. I can tell you that right now. We will not allow that to happen. We will not allow people into our country who are looking to do harm to our people. We will allow lots of people into our country that will love our people and do good for our country.
And just about 9 minutes ago, our senior White House correspondent John Roberts sent out an urgent email saying a White House source tells Fox News the White House will likely not appeal the Ninth Circuit's three-judge panel decision to either an en banc session of the Ninth Circuit, nor will it likely file an emergency appeal with Supreme Court. The plan is to fight it out in the U.S. District Court in Seattle and the merits of the executive order. Now, KG, the merits. Now, we should note that the Court of Appeals did not decide on the merits of the executive order. They decided on whether they had standing or not.
Right. So this is actually a very good move, I think, on his part, because I think he knows and understands what the outcome, especially since this decision was 3-0. So I'd like to say that this is throwing the Ninth Circuit a little bit of shade, legal shade. He's not going to even address it, follow up with them. He's going to pursue a different path that they feel will be more successful and have a better outcome, which I think from a strategy standpoint is smart. This was no surprise to me. I called it on O'Reilly. I said there's no shot that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is going to say that the travel suspension was okay. So they were going to find a way to take it down. I mean, the only possibility was maybe if it was a 2-1 decision, but they were unanimous. So obviously he's going to take it elsewhere.
Dana?
Well, judicial setbacks are nothing new for presidents. This one, unfortunately, has played out early on in the first, taken up a lot of the oxygen for the first 2 weeks of, or 2 weeks of the first 100 days. And I thought that what the president was saying today in the press conference meant that they intended to withdraw the EO as written, resubmit it in a way that was tighter and one that would be able to withstand any of these judicial pushbacks, but maybe that is not the case. I just feel whatever the administration thinks is necessary, if they think the policy is necessary to protect the country, then I think I wouldn't worry too much about a setback in the court. I don't think that means you're a loser or anything. I just think it means you got to find a better way to get it done. And if they think that's through the district court in Seattle, I guess they can try that. I just think that it wouldn't be bad to resubmit it in a way that was just a little bit tighter and doesn't include that green card language in the initial draft. That would actually make it much more clear.
Your thoughts, Greg?
I was watching this unfold last night, and what was weird to me was watching on other channels how giddy the press was. To them, they treated it not as a news story, but as a win. Yeah. It was a win. It was like when they were interviewing people, it was like they were talking about the moon landing. Like, how did you feel when you first saw this? What was it like? And I started to think, okay, like, what excites the media so far since the election? The Women's March against the election. They were excited over that. They were excited over the protests against the executive action. They were excited over the circuit ruling just last night. So what do you notice a trend here? They're actually the opposition alongside the other opposition. Yes, but I want to make another point, because everybody's saying what's wrong with this travel ban. The reasoning that they use is that it aids jihadists through recruitment. Now, this is the same thing they said about Gitmo. And because we're talking about national security, you better be damn sure that you have evidence that it aids recruitment. They have never shown that a travel ban or Gitmo aids in recruitment. But what we do know is your adversaries always say that whenever you go after your enemy, that helps your enemy. So what they're trying to tell you is, please be a sitting duck. Don't do anything. Let us come and kill you. Death to America.
All right, Bob, so the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decided not on the merits of the executive order. They decided that Washington State would be harmed if this travel ban were to stay in place, and that basically saying that some unnamed person from another country who is not even a citizen here, somehow not getting to the state of Washington was going to harm the state. Trump is pointing out that they will fight this out on the merits of the executive order. Alan Dershowitz is no fan of Donald Trump. This morning said, on the merits, the executive order will probably stand up in court.
Well,
obviously.
First of all, does en banc mean they're on vacation?
You're looking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't? Oh, okay. Listen.
But you did read some of your research today.
I did.
Good
I
boy.
did. And,
while you were dealing
one thing I
blackjack.
read was that
Right.
interesting was the
That
Wall
is
Street
blackjack.
Journal and Charles Krauthammer, both of whom said it was hastily written. It was not vetted within the administration. They deserved what they got. That it was bad policy, but on the merits of the law, that it will win. And ultimately, if you read the statute, as much as I hate to say this, but it's true, it says the president does have the right to decide who can come in and out of this country. And he depends on national security. So in the end, my guess is on the merits, it is going to go in his favor. But in the meantime, it has taken up, as Dana said, all the oxygen. I mean, these guys have an amazing ability to step all over their message.
You know, Dana, so and that the point being,
The libs.
when the Supreme Court has to decide on the merits of the executive order, not on the standing that Washington State found on.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, if they decide, there's a lot of different paths that they could take. It depends on what the district court says in Seattle. You might even have something else. You know that as you pointed out the other day, the New England judge in this circuit was like, yeah, we're good. This ban looks fine to us. So it just takes a long time. That's why I do think that there are things that could be done under the secretaryship of General Kelly, who could put in some of these measures without having to do an actual executive order that you could just do at the Department of Homeland Security without. So again, I just go back to, if you think that the policy is necessary to protect the country, do whatever that path that is most direct. Because I think that one of the best things, and that's kind of just how I try to live my life, which is the less drama, the better.
Really?
Like, yes, I don't want drama in my life. I want to be able to focus on, like,
What are you
on the
doing
good
here,
and
then?
important stuff.
Oh my God.
I ask myself
Why
that.
are you at this
A lot.
table? Wow.
So, can I throw
But I just
something
think
out
that if the policy is good and sound, then there are ways to do it, and where you won't get media hysteria, and then you get that done, and then you can talk about tax cuts and the infrastructure bill and Obamacare repeal and replace and bringing jobs back to America and establishing good foreign relations with people like the Prime Minister of Japan. All of those things matter a lot more than a judicial setback.
So here's a thought, and this is another avenue that Trump administration could go. They can defy the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decision and continue the travel ban. They can literally instruct our borders to uphold the travel ban, and then likely the Supreme Court would get it in their lap a lot sooner. Now, KG,
I think the Supreme Court would reverse the Ninth Circuit.
Right, so is it strong enough of
80% reversal rate, by the way.
What's wrong with that strategy?
The Ninth Circuit. I mean, you could try that.
Risky,
It's risky, but right now I think they're trying to be a little bit risk averse and say, what is the best? Like, let's figure it out from a legal perspective. Our best chance right now, given the current composition of the U.S. Supreme Court, given what happened with the Ninth Circuit, I think this is quicker for them to be able to get this done than just appeal the Ninth Circuit.
Not
Although
quicker if they put the travel ban back in order. By the way, Greg, 800 refugees since the travel ban was stayed by that court.
But they may try and do
800
both.
refugees have come in.
But not from those seven countries.
If they had taken the time, you
Necessarily.
pointed out that they sit back now and look and decide what's the best way to go.
Yeah.
If they'd done that in the first place, they wouldn't have the trouble that they're in now. But these people just can't seem to keep their mouths shut or can't seem to not put out one of these things every other day. Look, he's sitting there with the premier of Japan. His big deal is trade. Is there any one country that's more important in Asia for us than Japan? I don't know what it is, and not one single single thing came out of that press conference except this the circuit court.
I'll tell you what came out was really good out of that press conference. The photos. Like, a lot of this is all about visual and the story, and that you have President Trump now, I would say arguably his best friend on the world stage at the moment is Prime Minister Abe. That's not a bad picture to have. Like, I think
very likable.
If you care about storytelling, that was a good one.
But that
can
would
I go
not
back
be-
to something? 800 refugees from those seven countries have entered into the country in the last week?
Since the stay, yeah. 800. That's Fox Research. I'll hang it on them, but yes.
Blame it on
like
them.
Syria, 300 or so, 200 from another, but all of them from those seven travel ban countries.
The interesting irony here is that what the critics of Donald Trump are accusing Trump of doing, they're actually doing. He's talking about trying, as a bouncer, he's working as your nation's bouncer, trying to pick the bad eggs out of the good eggs. What his critics are doing is they're actually combining the bad eggs with the good eggs. They're saying, like, him going after radical Islam is going after all of Islam. He's being Islamophobic. He's going after Muslim countries when, in fact, he's trying to be, hypercritical, vetting for the bad guys. So they're actually the bigots. They're saying, like, if you're against terrorism, you're against Islam. That's actually an incredibly bigoted statement.
Especially when most of terrorism attacks are against
at the
Muslims.
morning breakfast buffet, and it should be late in the day when they really need a bouncer.
Oh, thanks for that insight.
I was just saying that to further to your point, Greg, most victims of terrorism are Muslims.
Exactly.
So that doesn't.
So here it is, and this is concerning to me. I saw it, I read it, I'm reading it right. Refugees have been since the travel ban was halted on February 3rd. Syria 359, Iraq 252, Somalia 130, Sudan 32, and Iran 109. Libya and Yemen 0 and 0. But 800 or so.
It's a lot.
It's quite a bit.
I don't see us going over any place else in those numbers.
All right.
Welcome back. President Trump is going to keep fighting. He's confident he'll get a court to reinstate his travel ban, warning again today there are tremendous threats to our country. One of the world's most notorious terrorists, President Bashir al-Assad, is confirming our fears, apparently, that terrorists are streaming out of his country. He said this about refugees.
Some of these refugees, in your view, aligned with terrorists?
Oh, definitely. And,
definitely.
Definitely. You can find it on the net. In some instances, those terrorists in Syria.
All right, lots to unpack there, Greg. Where do you want to start? Bashir al-Assad?
Yeah. This is like the Frankenstein monster of segments. It's like they took two things that shouldn't be together and jammed them together while they were drunk. Dallas.
Wait, what are you saying about our producer?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I can't believe we're relying on Assad's opinion for something, but I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that. Dallas Marine, his message is common sense. And these days, common sense is kind of considered, deviant. I think he should be reprogrammed at a local college. This is what's amazing to me about a guy like that. He knows what not being in a safe space is. Like he goes to the unsafe spaces and he risks his life for this country. Meanwhile, on campuses, there are whiners demanding safe spaces on campuses, and they make it hard for that guy to do his job.
Yeah, well, here's the fact of the matter was Americans had no trouble walking around Iraq before this order came out. You don't think that has something to do?
Oh, wait, Bob.
What? No, I'm telling you.
I would say that.
Wait.
We have thousands and thousands of contractors over there who walk around all the time. But can we leave that aside? Can I say one thing about this?
He wasn't talking about since the order came out.
Well, what are you talking about?
He was talking about that was the risk to him walking around Iraq prior to the order. The order came down 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I would also say you could blame somebody else.
That I necessarily.
Well, we gotta put this where it belongs. President Obama.
Taking a quote from Assad is like taking a quote from Hitler about why people wanted to leave his country during the Second World War.
That's a good point.
Why didn't your buddy President Obama get rid of Bashar al-Assad when he said he was going to? When he drew the red line, because he violated the red line.
Because he teamed up with your pals, the Russians, who are now not trying to get rid of ISIS. They're trying to get rid of the opponents.
Obama
Assad.
teamed up with the Russians?
Yes.
No. Your guy is teaming up with the Russians.
Oh, my guy.
Yeah.
No, but Obama teamed up with the Russians, Bob.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, remember John Kerry said, "Okay, Russians, knock yourselves out."
If you look at where the Russians have been bombing,
no, I agree. I'm not. I'm no fan.
Assad's opponents,
but that was a deal that was. Yeah. John Kerry.
Of course we wanted Russia in the fight, but we thought Russia was going to do the right thing, tell the truth.
Well, that's not
which
President
is what they
Trump's
apparently
fault.
only tell Donald Trump.
Okay, well, the problem is, Bob, there's just one problem with everything you said. There's absolutely no causal link between the executive order and what was just said here by this Marine. You do realize that, right? The two do not exist.
I don't. That's his opinion.
Okay.
But Eric, I do think that the Marine would agree that there is a difference between some of the people maybe that are in Iraq that have helped us as interpreters or in the war effort, that he would separate those out from people.
I would hope. I mean, I would think so. After
I mean,
13
you saw.
years,
Actually, I saw this week.
I hope.
One of our soldiers who had returned actually paid for his interpreter to be able to get here during this intervening time when the travel ban is off. Well, that was really great.
That was my favorite segment of the whole week.
It took me till Derek's tease to realize what was going on.
What was really happening?
It's Facebook Friday. If you have a question for us, go to our page. Post it now. Facebook.com/the5FNC. Up next, some ironic commentary from NBC's Brian Williams on whether you can trust President Trump. That's next.
President Trump warns us not to trust the dishonest press, and a new poll indicates Americans don't. They trust him more. 49% find his administration to be truthful. Only 39% say the same for the media. Meanwhile, here's some rich irony. One of the most infamous fake news broadcasters in TV history, NBC's Brian Williams, devoted an entire segment on his show this week to blame the conservative media for covering for President Trump. Here was his guest.
Why does he lie? Because he can. Because anyone who corrects him, he'll say, that's the opposition, that's partisan. And then he will have the Breitbarts of the world, the Drudges of the world, the Rush Limbaughs of the world provide him with air cover.
Then Williams, who was suspended for 6 months for lying to his viewers, chimed in.
Just this week, there are now folks who believe we pick and choose terrorist attacks to report on. There are now folks who believe that murder rate is at a 47-year high. It is not, but the president said it was today. It's not.
All right, so very interesting, right, Craig? What do you make of this, Brian Williams?
You should have left that part where he was talking about taking out an ISIS training camp with a toothpick. He was on his way to do that segment.
Oh,
he killed like 100 of them, but we didn't talk about that. You know what it is? He's mad because finally the right is acting like the left. It was the left-wing media that had been playing fast and loose with the truth about global warming, about race, about police brutality, the Iraq war, even free market economics, trickle down, trickle up, whatever you want to call it. They made stuff up. Now the right's doing it, and they learn from the very best. Brian Williams.
Aha. All right, Dana.
I don't know if that's a badge of honor, though.
I know.
No, I'm not. I'm just being,
No, I get it. I think that there's levels, there's different levels of information that is floating out there. So, like conspiracy theories that about 9/11 truthers, like that's ridiculous. The ridiculous conspiracies about Sandy Hook, like that. I think that there are just different levels.
Degrees.
I think that some of what happens on conservative talk radio or here at Fox News offends people because they disagree with it. Not because it's not true, but there are places where you can find stuff that is absolutely made up on the left and the right.
Well, certainly that's true about right. First of all, I think it's amazing that we would make this a pro-Trump, as usual, a pro-Trump segment when, in fact, the truthful and untruthful on the press was much worse than this before Trump got elected, number one. And 48% of the people think the administration is untruthful. They've been in for 3 weeks. 48% think they're untruthful. Are you kidding me? It took, I can't even think, Richard Nixon 2 terms to get that.
So you're saying Trump outperforms Nixon?
That's right, he does. Well, and I think he'll end up the same way, but that's not the point. 48% say you're not telling the truth.
Yeah, and 53% say that the news media is untruthful.
Yeah, and it was higher than that last summer.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously not us. Okay, so Eric,
how does Brian Williams find the time after Sunday Super Bowl when he's calling plays in Tom Brady's helmet to writing the opinion for the Ninth Circuit Appeals Court when he was right there? How does he have time to come up with these, lobbing these grenades at Trump? Here's the point. Glass houses don't throw stones. Here's a surprising number. 39% think the press is truthful. I mean, I think that number is extremely high.
It was last year.
Yeah, it's really high. Maybe it's because people.
It's alarming.
Even Congress's numbers have gone up, so maybe just everybody's in a better mood.
Feeling better. See, Trump fixes that. He fixed the media, Congress.
Yeah, he sure did. Half of it was untruthful, but he got it done.
Where'd you get those suspensions?
Get her done, buddy.
I know, but guess what? The election.
Some people on the Twitter got to me and said, "You're so bad on Trump. You're the devil. You should wear black." So I wore black.
No, this is
Plus,
what you wear when you're gambling.
How do you know it's clean if it's black?
Well, that's the good thing about black shirts, Greg.
Yes, it's always.
How do you know what's underneath that sweater?
I can show you later.
No thanks.
They're like one.
We're actually going to be with them later. We are. We're going with this, but he's like talking about dry cleaning and dirty shirts and whatever.
All right, what else can we say positive about Donald Trump based on this information?
The media.
I think Donald Trump is the greatest president that we've ever had and will ever have until the day the earth ends. Okay? Just putting it out there.
Consensus, take a vote.
Yes.
That's.
So do you honestly not see the correlation between this truthful, untruthful, almost 50-50 to the Trump
election?
supporters?
And how about the election and what happened?
I think if I were a pollster sitting in that Oval Office and saying, Mr. President, half the country thinks you're not telling the truth, which is true. In fact, more than half time he's not telling the truth.
If Hillary were president right now, what do you think the number would be?
She's not, and you can't go back to hey, don't dig into that hole, man.
Wait, she tweeted last night after the Supreme Court, after the circuit ruling. It was so sad. Go play with your grandkids.
Yeah, but she got the tweet back at her. She tweeted Kellyanne. She tweeted 3-0, and then Kellyanne got it back with Wisconsin, Michigan, and PA.
Kellyanne, was she filming an advertisement?
But if you're not invited to the party, don't stand outside and look in the window. You go find another party.
You do that all the time.
Well, only at your parties.
I was at my apartment party.
An update now on that big, beautiful wall our president promised to build on the Mexican border. He may have gone to Wharton, but trust me, President Trump's no math whiz. Here are some of his wild guesses on the cost of his wall.
It's $8 billion, and I'm taking a price per square foot and a price per square, per mile, and it's a very simple calculation.
Maybe $10 or $12 billion, and it's going to be a real wall. It's going to be a high wall. It's going to cost $10 billion to build the wall. Okay.
I think he initially started out at $4 billion. Now, we're hearing some very different numbers, though, reportedly from Trump's Homeland Security Department. The price tag could go as high as $21.6 billion. And, by the way, it probably is going to take over 3 years to build, if they ever build it, which they won't. Mr. President, we the taxpayers aren't going to foot this bill, and Mexico ain't going to give you 1 peso to build your stupid wall. You got it, hombre?
Hombre,
whatever it is.
That means friend, man.
Versus
hombre means
hunger.
Like,
you got it hungry?
If we Americans foot the bill of all of your left-wing liberal programs for the past 40, 50 years, why do you care if we foot this bill? I mean, I don't want to pay it either, but I don't understand.
Well, because I don't think here's why it doesn't matter if it's 4, 8, 12, 20, 21.6, because Mexico is going to pay for it. And by the way, you know why the price keeps going up?
Why?
Every time Mexico and Peña Nieto says we're not paying for the wall, it goes up 2 feet higher.
Now, you tell me, can you tell me in 2 sentences how it's going to get paid for by the Mexicans?
I told you, you can leave $1 off your price of oil that you pay them, put in escrow, and make them pay it over the next 10 years.
He missed that. He was not here.
Okay, well, let me ask you, Dana, what's your view about Mr. Trump and his wall and how it looks from the standpoint of sort of public relations?
Nice question.
Great question. So I would imagine that the people at the Department of Homeland Security are going to get a call from the White House that says, why don't you just wait a minute before you start speculating how much it might cost till we have all of our cabinet in place. And in fact, I think that Donald Trump would be well within his rights to say to the media that his first 100 days should not actually, the clock should not start on that until his cabinet is confirmed. Because you have a lot of people all across the government unable to actually get into their jobs. There's 3 more going to be confirmed, I guess, by Monday. But anyway, that said, that General Kelly is there. He's been there about a week. Like, before you start throwing cost estimates out there, why don't we just wait a second and find out? Because President Trump has also said during the campaign, and then I think in the transition, that when people think wall, they think like one solid thing all the way across. Well, there might be some places where that actually doesn't make sense just because of the
just because
geography,
the mountains and the reservoir, that's
right, or a river. So then there might be something that you can do differently. So I would wait on the cost estimate.
Okay, well, let me ask you.
I think I have to break this to you, Bob.
What?
The wall is getting built.
The wall is not getting
most
built.
assuredly.
I'll tell you, I'll bet you the most extreme
built.
bet you can have.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
I will spend the rest of my life with you.
What does she get?
If that wall does not, I will.
That is a hell of a bet.
In the most unholy of
if the wall doesn't
unions.
get built, you guys have to get married. That's the bet.
Oh, I can't break that story yet. Listen, KG has been quiet about this. She asked me not to say anything about it, and I'm not going to say anything about it.
You can get married at the wall.
And Mexico's going to pay for it. This is a true story.
and
Every
then-
time I go to Mexico, I get engaged. It's like the weirdest
And
thing.
do it on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Bully.
Where
Trying
this
to opt
where
out.
this conversation is going is exactly where the country's going with this wall. Everybody's laughing at it.
President Trump, please, I beg
This
you,
wall
you
will be
build
up.
the wall.
No, this wall won't be
The
up.
question is, how high will it be?
I tell you, the better chance of buying China's wall and bringing it over here than you're going to get.
God help us. All right.
Honestly, it's just it's
It
mind-boggling.
might be for
to me.
sale.
Okay, all right. Now let's go now.
John
to
Roberts.
White House correspondent John Roberts with some new information on how the Trump administration plans to proceed following the 9th District ruling.
It's on Ninth
John?
Circuit.
Bob, good afternoon. And Bob, my first opportunity to say welcome back. Good to see you back here,
Well,
my friend.
thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Been talking to a lot of people inside the White House. Things are moving very quickly. This morning they were weighing their options after the decision of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to not issue a stay against the temporary restraining order that was put in place by Judge James Robart of the Federal District Court in Seattle. They have decided that they are not going to appeal that particular ruling solely on the issue of the temporary restraining order. They were considering going back to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals for what's called an en banc hearing. That would be 11 judges to hear the same case, basically, that they presented to the 3-judge panel, or they could file an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court just down the street. They've decided that they are not going to do that. So what they're basically going to do is leave in place that temporary restraining order. They're then going to go back into federal district court in Seattle and fight the case on the constitutionality of the president's extreme vetting executive order of a couple of weeks back. In addition to that, the president on Air Force One just a short time ago said that he is considering writing a new executive order on extreme vetting. We've been talking about this today, and that would potentially put in a special, specific carve-out for people who are legal permanent residents of the United States and maybe people who are already in the country on temporary visas, and allow them to leave the country and come back, because you remember a big problem was created. People who had already been in this country left the country. The executive order was put in place before they came back, and they could not get back into the country. So they're working on some language, and we don't know if they're going to issue it, but they're working on potential language for a new executive order on extreme vetting. In addition, there are some other executive orders out there on national security, one of which would, for an indefinite period, keep Guantanamo Bay open, and some other things out there that we may hear about early next week. So the president taking the weekend at Mar-a-Lago in Florida with Japan's prime minister. 2 rounds of golf, by the way, they're going to play. One in Jupiter at the Trump National, one in West Palm Beach at Trump International, and then they'll come back and continue to work on national security.
All right, John, thank you very much, and it's nice of him to lead during the snowstorm. All right, Facebook Friday is up next.
Facebook Friday. We've got your questions here. It's going to be great. All right, Kate C. Back in high school, were any of you voted for any of the typical senior yearbook superlatives, i.e. like most likely to succeed in that? Let's go this way, Perino.
I can't remember.
You were most absent-minded.
Most likely to sit on a cable news show.
And have a great
No, I don't
journal.
remember. But you know what the other sad thing for me is that when I was in graduate school and then I left in a hasty fashion.
Right.
After I graduated, I left Illinois, went back to Denver. I think I left my senior yearbook in Illinois. I don't have it.
Oh, you want me to go get it? Yeah, I'm sure we can find a viewer that could go and get it right now.
1990, if
By the way,
anybody has one.
you do know that
High School.
it's going to show up.
Go Mustangs.
I bet you had a killer haircut in the 90s.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of looks like today's.
Yeah. Eric?
I'll come back around.
Being that I went to a Jesuit high school, all boys, we really didn't do that type of thing. Most likely to. It's just, hey, good luck. Hey, see you later. So, no.
Bob, most likely to what?
Not make it through college.
Yeah.
Of all the people going, it said of all the people going to college, Bob's most unlikely.
Really? To drop out? And did you?
No, that's not true.
It's true.
In your yearbook, it says that.
Yeah, some schmuck who was he was a little punk. He was the editor of the yearbook.
What's he doing now?
Who would be the editor of a yearbook? Think about it.
I love editors of yearbooks.
Why?
Almost as much as I love
organized people.
They're like place kickers in football, and they're like drum majorettes.
But
the yearbook editor.
What did you beat them up on a regular basis?
Somebody running down the street, football field with a sling.
Stop doing that,
up
Bob.
and down.
Oh,
hey,
gross.
Kimberly,
What?
I bet you were most likely to succeed, right?
Most likely to succeed,
Yes.
most courteous, and best eyes.
So you had 3. So that means there were 2 people at home crying. They said, "Oh, just give it to Kimberly. We could give this to Jane. No, give it to Kimberly." I think Jane's very depressed. No, Kimberly has better eyes. You had most courteous.
Yeah, I won that every year, by the way.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Who voted for that? Your family?
No, they weren't allowed to vote. It was the student body.
I was most likely to be
I'm very
involved in a
polite.
series of disturbing.
I was the student body president.
Oh, now she's bragging. Now she's bragging.
Wait, most likely to be involved in a series of
disappearances.
Oh.
Involved. They haven't caught me yet. That's why I keep moving. All right, this is Steve L. Congratulations on being student body president.
Thank you.
Wow. All right. If you rubbed a genie lamp and the genie gave you 3 political wishes, what would you wish for, Kimberly?
3 political wishes?
Yes.
Oh. Resurrect Ronald Reagan.
Very good.
Does that count, that count as one? I think that would be a very good one. Resurrect Winston Churchill. And I'm going to throw in Margaret Thatcher.
Wow. So you'd have 3 of the undead running the world. It would be pretty amazing.
I like it.
That's the Return of the Living Dead. That's what that is.
The living awesome, Bob.
Awesome. If I had 3, it would be, I would like to see Roosevelt come back. I think that would be great. I also would like to see...
wishes.
I also would like to see Democrats and Republicans finally realize that it's good politics to get along. It's not good politics to be polarized like this. And
Well,
you're
what
going
do you
to
do?
catch up with you.
What do you do?
I polarize with you.
Yeah.
All right?
Time out for
And
Bob.
you're the most what? Courteous? Give me a break. And the third one is I hope that
Learn to
Eric,
count.
I hope Eric runs for the Senate from New Jersey, which he's going to do, by the way. That's a secret. Don't tell anybody.
New Jersey. That's a tough place to win, a Republican to win in New Jersey.
That's so cute.
Could happen, though.
Why not?
Anything.
We moved to New Jersey and vote for you, bowling.
You know, Bill Nelson is up in 2018 in Florida.
That would be fun.
That's too soon. 3 rub the bottle and genie comes out and I get 3 wishes.
Yes.
Massive tax reform, repeal Obamacare, and build a wall.
In tax reform,
Oh,
you
guess
include
what?
That's how it gets
We
done.
have a genie.
We have a genie.
Who's going to do
That's
that?
how it's going to be
That's what
done.
Trump's going to need, too. We got to run those done.
All right.
A big genie for that.
What are your 3 political
Bob had
wishes?
4.
I would ask for a balanced budget. It's actually the first piece of legislation that I ever worked on as a staffer. I remember that. A flat tax,
Okay.
income tax, and a return to civility.
That would be nice.
Aw.
Back to
then
the
what would we
Victorian
do?
age.
Why don't you pick another one? The civility thing.
My 3 wishes are 1, free ice cream, 2,
Oh, ask Bernie Sanders.
free puppies, and number 3, 3 more wishes. Isn't that cute?
Can I take one of your wishes?
No.
I will take
No,
it anyway.
I'm a wish hoarder.
No.
Tonight on Lifetime.
What about ISIS?
A wish hoarder.
Kill ISIS.
Oh, we have time for this one from Gloria. Look at this. Terrible. Well, I'm going to start with you, Bob.
Yes.
Gloria G. asks, what is your favorite Valentine's Day gift?
Oh, but don't answer.
To give or to get?
Don't.
Why, Dana? Why? Why from
Oh,
you?
my God.
It's always the innocent-looking ones. Wow.
I've lost track of her.
What is wrong with what I said?
I don't know. It's
I
just the
know.
way you said it.
I know what's wrong
My
with
favorite
it.
Valentine's gift is a woman that I can't find anymore. She took off.
That's a nice. That sounds like a country
But it was a
music
great
song.
gift.
But I mean,
Came
what-
with a bow on it and everything.
Eric,
I
help
don't
me.
even know where to go with
Ew,
this.
what are you
just
talking
spending
about?
time
Are you talking
with
about a
my
blow-up doll?
Oh, my
What are you
goodness.
talking about?
No.
No. No way. What?
KG, favorite Valentine's Day gift? I know it's going to have 4 wheels.
No, that's usually for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
Yes. You got a car for Christmas.
Yeah, I got an Aston Martin, then I got a Mercedes, and I got another Mercedes. And then, so for Valentine's
And
Day,
that's because there's 3 guys laying on the street who just proposed to you and you ran over them, took their car. Right?
You're next.
In Mexico.
You're next. Yeah, no, let's see. What else? Valentine's, to be honest with you, I love champagne and I love chocolate and dinner.
We got to go. They're yelling at me. And? Wait, Dana.
To give her a receipt.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, like, is it a gift that you want to give or a gift that you want to get? I would say that, so my friend Tim Chase bought his wife this year a Rhodesian Ridgeback puppy. Michelle Chase is now the proud mother of a new little puppy. I would say that's the best Valentine's Day gift.
Great. So people are going to go buy pets for Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's what they do.
That's
then
a
what
bad
do
idea.
I got
Kennedy's
Russian.
show yesterday with those hairless cats.
Hairless cats.
Really gross.
That's my favorite gift, the hairless cat.
One time I
because
got
we gotta go.
Russian dwarf mice for
they're so delicious.
Valentine's.
They're
so I
delicious.
didn't eat them, but they
One more thing.
had a lot of babies.
Time for one more thing, and Bob's first.
Well, you know, everybody around this table has written a book, and you just found out that I wrote mine. But the Beckel Institute, which I'm very proud to be the CEO of, did a poll on which book has been bought by more people in the country who tend to be Republican. And here's the final tally. I want you all to know this right here. Perino, 25%, Guilfoyle, 20%, Gutfeld, 2%, Bowling, no percent, and Bob Beckel, 97%. Can we have a picture of him?
Where are these numbers?
Can I show you something? This definitely does come from the Beckel Institute.
There you go.
Add those numbers.
It's not 100%.
No. That's where you're wrong. That's why you've never understood polling.
Oh my God!
Yes.
It's all one person at a time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so tonight, make sure you watch the O'Reilly Fact. I'm hosting it, but I have Kellyanne Conway. I'm going to ask her about the three big stories of the day, about the travel ban, you know, the appellate court pushing back on the travel ban, about General Flynn and whether or not he had a conversation with the Russians prior to Donald Trump being sworn in, and also her issue with the Ivanka Trump clothing line, and whether or not Donald Trump has addressed it as well. So make sure you watch that tonight at 8 o'clock. Don't miss that one. KG.
All righty. It's time for another exciting edition of Kimberly's Food Court.
You never get it right.
I don't care. Everyone loves the picture. No one cares if I get it right. All right. Thank you, Dana Perino, for sending this to me. And this involves science. Food scientist Stephen Witherly explains why Doritos are so addicting. What do I do with these, Dana?
Oh, you and your son eat them at night in bed.
In bed, correct. So she knows this from way back. Now, the red powder is very high in salt and sugar, two major pleasure solutes. What are you laughing at? And not only this, it has these acids, and then it makes the saliva get excited in your mouth, and then it tastes better. And then this is what happens, Bob. Your brain is excited by the sensation of biting into a hard substance that quickly dissolves. This is also an example of vanishing caloric density, where food seems to disappear in your mouth, tricking your brain into wanting
So you just keep eating more and more.
The next person's bad thing about all the crumbs. Does it bother them?
No one complains.
No? Okay.
No one complains. If they've made it there, Bob, they'll take the crumbs. All right. Tomorrow night, the Greg Gutfeld Show, 10 o'clock. I'm going to have some very special guests. One of them is Kimberly Guilfoyle. She'll be bringing her chips. Bob Beckel will be there. He'll be bringing God knows what. And we got a Baldwin brother. We got my favorite Baldwin brother, Stephen Baldwin, will be there.
What could go wrong?
A lot's going to go wrong. Also, Kat Timpf is going to be there. It's going to be a mess. A mess like you've never seen. 10 p.m. He's got snowed in.
Oh.
Eric, Louisiana.
All right, we'll send you DVRs so you never miss an episode of The Five. That's it for us. Special report coming up in 5.